All right, cool. Let's get started. So for one, right, this is very alarming. Not alarming, more so something to be weary of, because it's a very strong, obviously very strong closure. Next week is not only the monthly but the 3 month, right? And now that is starting to look very alarming, depending on how this week goes, right? Because for the most part, if this is a very strong move, right? You can consider that a type of mitigation, which would then lead to being the target of equal highs, right? And the reason why I even consider that is because remember, guys, I spoke about this a couple weeks ago, right? Is that this could have been a break of structure, right? Whereas this could have been a break of structure, this could have been the inefficiency fill, and now this could potentially be, a mitigation play to the upside. And it can honestly hold. It makes a lot of sense, right? In terms of just looking at this, right? It makes a lot of sense, and it's not something that I'm, like, yeah, it's been bothering me too. It's not like something I'm gonna, put my cards into fully, but I'm gonna prepare for both scenarios, right? Because this 2 month here, right, actually failed an efficiency here. Right, so I want to be pretty much, I want to be able to have the same bias as I do from a position basis to a swing basis. So the swing basis is still, you know, downwards, right? We've failed to create a high, right? And we're now expecting the break of structure to occur. But if the break of structure doesn't occur, right, this is now continuation from this perspective, right, which is a position perspective. So it's very alarming, but for the most part, right, it's really gonna all depend on what this move is gonna do, right? I'm still not convinced, as I said, that that's accumulation, right? But we're already at a pausing point here, right? Which is the weekly inefficiency, right? We're already there, but this is a very strong closure. So if we react, I think it'll only be a pullback for a continuation higher. And that's just mainly due to the closure. Obviously, that isn't the make it or break it, but I can only, use that as a reference. Whereas I'm more so leaning towards an inefficiency fill here because if we reach this, right, and this reacts, right, gives something, right, if it gives something, right, then this, right, is now the narrative playing to the downside, and this is no longer accumulation to me, right? Obviously, it depends because there could obviously be this move up, and then this could be very corrective, and then that would be an impulse to the upside. Um, so I am, for the most part, shortly bullish on this until we reach a potential area of interest. And from there, I really want to see the reaction because for all we know, this can just shoot up through there. And if that shoots up through here, then this is the next target, right? And if this isn't substantially taken out, right, that is your pretty much your swing break of structure because this is our last, right, lower high, I'm sorry, right, that created the lower low. So if that breaks, then we're in bullish structure, and this macro move is in play, right? So it's like it's 50-50 for me, but I really want to see, just how we react when we come back up here, right? That's the make it or break it for me. But if we break this high, then it'll be tough. Like from there on, it's just gonna depend on the momentum that comes in, and obviously how we react from specific areas, etc., etc. Um, so looking at EU now with that same reason, right? For me, EU looks a lot more bullish than DXY looks a lot more bearish, right? And more so because of the entire structure here. Right, so this was pretty much my position low, right? This is the high. We have now reacted from a mitigation move and maintained this high. So this, in my opinion, looks a lot more bullish than this does. And maybe it just could be because I see buys better than sells or whatever, but the buys is still intact here. So like I said, right, we might finally reach, previous inefficiencies that we left out, right? Previous structure potentially, right? And that's pretty much what I'm leaning towards, that this has no reason to not come down this lower, right? Especially because we've already broken the swing structure here. Because notice this is a low that pretty much initiated this entire corrective move, and that's already been taken out, meaning that this direction is downside. So I really want to see what happens when we come back into points of interest to then see what kind of narrative we can build from there, right? So GPUSD, like I said, I wasn't convinced, and I'm still not convinced because this isn't as impulsive as this was, right? So although structure is still technically bearish, right? My overall structure is technically bullish from a swing perspective, right? Right, technically it's still bullish, right? But the only thing that's pretty much changing my bias was pretty much this, right? This is where the corrective structure started, then the liquidity grab, but that's already been taken out. So I want to see how we hold in this area, because honestly, if we break this low, this has a free fall for it. And that's because from a more intraday perspective, right here is that final pullback before we started this. So this is a very crucial point. This is as crucial as this point was for AU, because it's the same principle, right? This is the last intraday low that created the high, right? This was then tested, created equal lows, and then it was taken. So this is the full-on swing break of structure, right? Which then led to the corrective structure to the downside. So this was the crucial point. That was the crucial structure point, right? From a swing basis, that is your crucial point. But looking at intraday, right, this was the last substantial pullback. To then for the final for the final impulse to the upside. So, right, that is a crucial point of interest for me. Just as this is for me. All right, so personally, I mean, obviously I want to see it hold. I really want to see that upside. I really want to see at least this be taken out, right? Because these are now considered relative equal highs and a target for any type of potential move here, which is obviously supported by, the overall potential schematic that we've been looking into for the longest, right? And that is, right, pre-supply selling climax, right? No real automatic rally until here. Secondary test, no initial secondary test, but this spring move is what's catching my attention, right? And now looking at this from the structural standpoint, right, created the higher high, but came back for a liquidity grab. Liquidity grab because on a higher time frame, that's just a wick. So, right, from there, all we had was swing bullish structure, right, which is why I said right, low, lower high based on this low, right, but we're now creating a unwillingness to continue lower based off this low, right? Now this is the break of structure, and this is the safe entry, right? This is a continuation, right, which then caused the impulse to the upside, then the corrective structure, liquidity grab, which took out this swing structure, right? So now all this pullback is technically from this swing range, right? And we're already at a discount, I believe, or at least an equilibrium. Yeah. Right. So pretty much right around equilibrium. Right. Personally, I want to see what happens. Right. As I said, in these areas, just because those are the crucial points for me. Right. And also for the most part, right, because I'm bullish on that, right, I'm bearish on EG. And especially with the nice daily closures, even though they weren't as strong as I wanted them to be, right, the structure maintained itself. So as I said in the call last week, right, I was waiting to see how this range would play based off of this structural range, right, which as we saw had a liquidity grab, a potential mitigation, to then the break of structure here. So now was focusing on this range, right? This is the pullback that occurred. That's the new lower low. So now I'm focused here, right? So I'm focused on the entire continuation play until any type of high breaks, then I'm not worried, right? So for all I know, this can go like this, but if it still continues lower, it followed the rule, right? What's the main rule in the structure video? You're in bearish structure until a lower high breaks, and vice versa for bullish structure, right? So this is maintained bearish structure until these highs are cleared, right? And for the most part, this does look pretty bearish to me, right? Strong daily, strong weekly, right? Strong weekly, right? Potentially strong monthly depending on this week, right? So this week is pretty crucial. All right, coming to quarter end, monthly end, weekly end. And it could be setting up for a pretty decent Q4. Right, looking at this entire structure, it just makes a lot of sense, right? This is a distribution we're talking about, right? This is technically the continuation of bullish structure, but we've now shown an unwillingness to continue higher, right? So now all we need to support this entire bias, right, is to have these break fully, in my opinion. All right, technically this is already the break of structure, but due to the fact that we have the liquidity grab, right, that's what pretty much messes this entire range up, and which is why we're playing it inside of this range. So in my opinion, until these are taken, right, I'm not fully confident that this schematic will run. But other than that, I mean, like I said, there isn't much to talk about from an intraday perspective, or more so just continuations and add-ons to our overall bias. All right, so pretty much here, right, I really want to see how we react after we touch that low. That'll be crucial because for all I know, this could be liquidity grab, mitigation, intraday break of structure, right, continuation, full intraday break of structure, and that could go bullish. All right, so I really want to see what happens at the low. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm seeing, right, I've seen the same questions, and I'm not too concerned about it, right, for most members, right, because honestly, I feel like the majority of people come into the same conclusion. It just takes different amounts of time, right? So something that where was it? Let me read the chat. Right, a big issue is obviously patience, right? And then something that Rob said too was, right, take the L's and learn from them, right? That's like most of this sounds very repetitive, and I'm sure most of you guys have heard this somewhere else, right? But how is it that we keep repeating the same things but continue to make the same mistakes? It doesn't make sense. That just shows ignorance on our end, right? So ultimately, you're just gonna have to do as we say, and doesn't matter if you're if you're 5 months in, if you're 2 years in, if you're 4 years in, right? There's a couple of guys that, and this isn't to throw a slug, right? There's a couple of guys that have came into the group, right? And they've pretty much already said that they're full-time traders and they do this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can see why you want to join. You want to, obviously level up to to see a different perspective, try to, implement that. But those same people that claim that show me the same issues that, a just somebody that's just some regular person that joins the group, right? And that obviously tells a lot, and that shows that obviously that individual needs to look at a mirror and truly, understand where that situation is, and pretty much act on it, right? So I'm not trying to sit here and lecture you guys, obviously boring BS, right? But at the end of the day, nothing beats experience, right? As Ricardo said, right? Pretty much just journaling everything in the real market, right? The more that you study the left, right, you will learn hindsight. But the hardest part about learning this style is transitioning hindsight to foresight, right? Having the ability to project based on previous projections, right? And that just comes through experience. That's all there is to it, right? And because most of us are so young, we don't understand the type of work that it takes to actually learn something like this, right? Um, right, like for example, this is the first time I've ever sat down and studied for something, right? I don't know about you guys, but this is the first time I've ever had to study, like to do anything, right? I hated school. I still hate school, right? I don't study for school. I somehow make it by without it. Um, but this is something where you just can't, you can't find that shortcut, right? Because if I'm cheating in school, right, I'm gonna get the good grades, but am I truly gonna learn anything? Am I truly gonna be able to apply anything that I've been shown? No. Right? So you can't cheat yourself through this, right? If you just finished the course and you're now on the charts thinking you can fully analyze each and every single point, right, as to why each move happened based off narrative, and then learning how to execute based off of that, then, I honestly think that, you're just in the wrong complete mindset. Right? And you guys can feel free to add on to anything that I'm saying. Right? Hopefully I don't sound too like congested. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, honestly. But do you guys have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Any add-ons? Any questions on the topic? But like I said, it's not something I'm worried about, because months down the road, you're gonna look at these times and you're just gonna laugh about it, right? I've seen it happen with various people, right? A lot of the admins, majority of the admins actually. But at the end of the day, sit, study, document, refine, repeat. It's all it is. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? Concerns? You have one. What's up? What's up? I think you were one of the guys that has the concerns too. Let's see. Yeah, what's up? Feel free to speak up, bro. It's
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was blocked.
no, you're good.
So, Fredo, I know it's gonna sound a little bit silly, but what's the more important point interest for you in a structural perspective? I mean, like
In a what
you
perspective?
in a structural.
What is the most important part?
So
Higher time frame.
yeah,
Simple.
I mean, you watch a lot of different time frames,
Yeah.
but yeah, what's the structure that is most important for you in a time frame perspective?
The higher time frame. What is every single this EG trade? What was it derived from? Where did I start analyzing this pair when I showed you guys the entire setup? I think it was last week.
Sorry, I wasn't in last week webinar.
Then you should be watching them though.
Yeah,
Right? I
yeah,
literally
I'm
broke this
trying
in,
to.
I broke this entire thing down from the monthly perspective down. Right? So I highly recommend you watch that, and I highly recommend you watch the pair breakdowns too, because that's what this is, right? Every pair breakdown for the most part, except for some intraday plays, are derived from higher time frame and brought all the way to M1, even seconds time frame. Right? At the end of the day, it's common sense, right? You say it sounds silly, but that's because you know that the answer is there, but you just what's clouding you at that point, right? You say it's a silly question because you probably know the answer. So what's the issue?
The issue is that I'm basically trying to learn like from trying to switch my mind
Your mic
from
is
skill
messing up,
perspective
bro.
to
Can you say that again?
so yeah, the issue is like I try to watch concepts and it's just a little bit difficult to translate that into the charts, you know.
Okay, well, how long have you been trying to put it into the charts?
um like from this style, I just bought your course like 2 weeks a week ago, I think, but
Exactly, bro, and that's exactly what I've been trying to say, bro. Patience. People join 1 month, 2 months in, and they're pissed off because they don't see the results. That makes no sense to me. There's longevity to it, bro. That makes zero sense to me. That why somebody believes that they can come in 2 to 3 weeks, even 4 to 6 weeks, right? Because every time that's I even said this, it's in the entire Discord, it's in the entire program. Like that just shows me that you don't in detail look at every single thing in the curriculum, right? And this isn't me getting on your ass because this is me telling this to every single person, right? That doesn't have the courage to say that what you're saying right now, right? So even here in the process, bro, this is right 3 to 4 weeks, right? This is where you're at right now. This is what you should be reading right now. This is what you should be acting on right now, right? Then comes this. Then comes this, right? That last one, obviously, it's not something that's necessary. I haven't even started it yet. I don't even know when I will start it. Um, but your most important part, as soon as you join, is to practice for 5 to 6 weeks. Not practice, study. Because from there, that's when your journey starts of refinement. That's when your journey starts of what Ricardo was talking about. This starts after 5 to 6 weeks, right? It takes time, right? Look at Chris, right? I've seen Chris since pretty much the beginning of when he joined, and I've been seeing his journals the entire time. And there was a point where he was like, is this even for me? Right? And I'm sorry, Chris, if I'm putting your business out like that. Um, but he even said that to me, right? I then laid it all out for him, right? And he now has to look at the bigger picture behind obviously what he's doing, right? Because if you question that if you want to do trading or not, then that shows that you're probably not doing this for the right reasons, right? So it's all about longevity, bro. Longevity, patience,
Sorry.
right? And no, don't be sorry, bro. It's cool. Like I said, I'm not getting on your ass, right? But this goes for every
Yeah,
single
no,
person
no, of
that's
course.
in your same scenario, right? There's gonna be somebody that joins 2 weeks from now, and then 4 weeks from now they're gonna be in the same spot you're in, right? Like it's rinse and repeat here, right? It's patience, refinement, repeat.
Okay, thanks, man.
And you can even ask the admins. The admins went through the exact same thing that you're going through, right? Chris is 4 to 5 months in, but he's finally winning trades. Yep, exactly. Right? Refinement, practice, longevity. That's all it falls down to. Right? And if you don't want to go through that, then that shows you're impatient and that's just something you have to work on. Simple. Yeah, like for example, I wasn't really gonna care about seeing people's results until we hit a year mark. Like then is when I was gonna be like, okay, let's see who and who has actually been, seeing success, what they've been seeing, how they've been getting it, right? And then now seeing how they did it, and then trying to improve the curriculum to help the people that didn't, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't know how much you study a day, right? I don't know how much you've seen of the course, right? And I don't mind it because it's that at the end of the day, that's your responsibility, right? So are we good there? And there's a couple of guys too that have been that just went MIA, but I see them on the calls and I think those are the guys that actually see it that they actually have to, go through the long term process, right? There's a couple of guys. I'm not gonna name you out because I want to see you continue to work hard in the silence, right? But I see you, like I'm literally looking at you right now. Um, but I think it takes time to see it, and I don't mind seeing you go through those losses in order for you to see it. Right, but I don't want to and here's the misconception too. Like I don't want to sound like, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm leading, you know, like I'm leading false hope, right? And the one thing that negates false hope is true success, and you've already seen true success in a bunch of the admins, which is why they're that admins, right? Pretty much false hope is when somebody tells you continue to watch the videos for months on end, and obviously if I'm not there to even answer your questions or even do anything like that, that's false hope in my eyes, right? But every single person in here who has ever sent me a DM, right, I have tried to answer it. Obviously it depends on how long you've been in the group, right? But there's people that ask me questions 2 to 3 weeks in, and I tell them to go through the 4 to 6 weeks, and now they don't even have those original questions anymore. They actually have different questions, right? So that means that his original questions were answered in those next 3 to 4 weeks through the same material that he was watching for the past 2 weeks, right? As Ricardo said here, where was it? Read that, right? The same rules, the same concepts, right? But he improves with them as he sees them, with time, with patience, with longevity. But yeah, hopefully I don't sound too dead today. I don't know why I sound so like I just honestly it's one of those mornings where you just feel so bad. I've been up since 7 my time. It's 11. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully that helps out a little bit. Um, at the end of the day, it's all self accountability. That's all it is. But yeah, there's a couple of guys that work in silence, and I'm pretty sure you guys see what I'm talking about. And all I want to tell you is keep going. That's all it is. Keep going. And even people that aren't on the call, people that just watch the recordings when they have time, right? That goes for you too. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm gonna end the call. Get 30 minutes.